Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to check out some new releases that are coming out this Friday, July 4th. It's kind of a light week. There's about 250 albums that are coming out this week. I got 10 on my list for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, it's kind of a light week. There's only about 250 albums that are coming out this week. I'm only going to talk about 10 on the show today, so if something you're looking forward to that I'll have on here, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section for them. You can also always go over to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. All the pre-orders are on there, new releases, there's deals on records, all sorts of cool stuff to check out. There's a couple albums from the Rhino Fidelity series that are getting reissued this week. The first one is a self-titled debut album from The Doors, released in 1967. It's going to run you about $41. These are always cut by Kevin Gray from the original analog tapes. They're pressed to optimal in Germany. They sound absolutely fantastic. So last year, Rhino released all the Doors albums in a box set. And I don't remember how many it was. I think it was limited to like 3,000 copies. Sold out pretty quickly. And then since then, they've released all the albums individually, but the individual releases have all been unnumbered, and all those were initially only available through Rhino's website. And they started having these store versions of them also, so that's what's coming out this week. And if you go on Rhino's website, all the unnumbered versions have sold out already on there, so the only way to grab a copy of this is going to be from your local record store. If you don't have a local store, though, I'll drop a link down in the comment section. You can grab one from one of my local stores. So when the box set came out last year, I passed on it because I already had 3 of the Doors albums. I got the Analog Productions versions, which are a little bit more money. I think the AP versions run around $60-65. Those are 45 RPM versus 33 and a third that you're getting from Rhino. I do have 3 of the Analog Productions releases, which are their debut album. I have Strange Days and LA Woman. The other 3 I have are all part of the Rhino High Fidelity series. Like I said, they sound absolutely fantastic. They sound so great, I've considered selling off my AP versions and just picking up all the Rhino versions of those albums. And at $41, it's a lot cheaper than the Analog Productions version. And I think the sound quality is pretty equal between the two of them. So, like I said, that's coming out this week. You've also got Waiting from the Sun by The Doors also coming out, released in 1968. It was their 3rd studio album. Same thing. It's a Rhino High Fidelity release. They're cut by Kevin Gray. They're pressed to optimal. When they released the unnumbered version of this earlier this year, I think it was January that they released the unnumbered versions on Rhino's website, I picked up a copy of this, and I think this is one of the first Rhino High Fidelity releases I picked up. And as soon as I listened to it for the first time, I quickly understood why these albums get such great reviews. And since then, I think I bought at least 4 or 5 other Rhino High Fidelity releases. It's a great series. I'm really looking forward to what they release in the future. The next release is one that it's not my style of music. This is not something I would typically check out, but I'm somebody that's always looking for new music. And when I listen to stuff that's not in my wheelhouse, I still try to approach it, with an open mind. So it's definitely one I'll stream and check out this week. This is a new album from Kesha, Period. It's her 6th studio album. It's going to be on baby blue vinyl. It's going to run about $28. So this is the follow-up to her 2023 album, Gag Order, which Gag Order was a big album, was a big musical shift for her to more of a alternative style music. Had a little bit of psychedelic rock in there. There was some art rock. It was, I think musically, it was a different album than what she'd released earlier in her career. But I'm interested to see the direction she takes on her new album. This is the first album since her decades-long lawsuit with Dr. Luke was finally settled, and she left RCA. I think this new album is being released through her own label. She's already released a few singles off this, and it sounds like this album has more of like a electro-pop / kind of country vibe to the album. I don't know, like I said, it's definitely one I'll stream and check out this week. Then you've also got the soundtrack for a Minecraft movie coming out. So this is going to run about $48. It's on 2 LPs. I think I've seen at least like 7 or 8 different color variants for this album. So I wasn't a big fan of the movie, but I think the soundtrack, at least they're doing something interesting with the soundtrack, because the soundtrack is split up into 2 halves. So the first half is the songs from the movie. So you got Jack Black on there, you got Jason Momoa on there also, And then the second half of the album is the score. So the first half of the album, which is the soundtrack, I think is just okay. There's some fun songs on there. I'm not really sure how much I'd really listen to it. I think the really good thing about this album is the second half of it, because I think Mark Mothersbaugh, who of course is from Devo, did an incredible job with the score on this movie. There's also the self-titled album from Keith Sweat getting reissued this week. This came out back in 1996. It was his fifth studio album. It's going to be on red vinyl as part of the Electra 75 series. It's going to run about $26. So Keith had a string of Billboard 200 top 20 releases to start off his career. But what he would do on his self-titled album would end up making him one of the biggest R&B singers on the middle part of the 90s. I think this is widely seen as his best, most complete album. It would go on to sell over 4 million copies here in the US. The singles Twisted and Nobody were both top 5 hits. This is one of those essentials mid-90s R&B albums that I've loved for a long time. So it's one I'm definitely looking forward to, especially for $26. I probably will grab a copy of that one. You've also got Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, live from New York State of Mind tour, which is a super long title for an album, but this is going to run, I think, about $26. It's going to be on colored vinyl. And from what I was reading online, every album is going to be a different kind of color. But this was released a little bit earlier this year. I think it was only a tour exclusive, limited to like 500 copies. So what you're getting this week is to be a wider release of it. This is all recorded in October 2023 at Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. And judging by the title of it, I thought this was going to be Enter the Wu-Tang, just as a live version of it. But that's not really the case. So it's got 8 tracks on here, kind of across Wu-Tang Clan's career. I've never been a huge Wu-Tang Clan fan, but if it's available on streaming services, I'll stream it and check it out. I will say to keep in mind, this is going to be available on recycled vinyl. So I know there's some people out there that have issues with that, so kind of keep that in mind. A couple of great jazz releases coming out this week, both a part of the Blue Note Tone Poet series. These are always mastered by Kevin Gray from the original analog tapes, suppressed RTI. They're going to run you about $39 online. The first one was Dexter Gordon, Landslide. So this was released back in 1980, but it was actually recorded in between 1961 and 1962. It's a compilation of recordings from 3 different recording sessions from him. Dexter's career by the early part of the 60s had kind of cooled off, and then he would experience this big comeback. He'd release a string of some of the best jazz albums of the 60s. Between 1962 and 1963, he'd release a trio of incredible jazz albums with Go, A Swingin' Affair, and Our Man in Paris. And the sessions that this album was recorded from, or taken from, were all recorded around the same time as those 3 albums. And since these were taken from 3 different recording sessions, he had a host of incredible jazz musicians with him. He's got Sonny Clark on here, Philly Joe Jones, Paul Chambers, Dave Burns, a bunch of other ones also. It's definitely one I'm looking forward to this week. And then the second one is Sam Rivers, A New Conception, released in 1967. Same thing. It's all mastered by Kevin Gray from the original analog tapes. Pressed it at RTI. It's going to run you about $39. So albums that Sam would have released before this album were all original works, were mostly original works. But with A New Conception, he took all these jazz standards and kind of reimagined them in this more like experimental kind of avant-garde style that he had. And the musicians he's joined with on this album aren't the biggest names in jazz, but they do a great job on this one. He's got Hal Garper on here, Herbert Lewis, Steve Ellington. I'm not all that familiar with Sam's music, but it's definitely one I'm looking forward to checking out this week. So I think the only notable music on vinyl releases coming out this week is That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind & Fire. Came out back in 1975. It was their 6th studio album. Limited to 2,000 copies. It's going to be on translucent blue vinyl. It's going to run you about $38. And if you're not familiar with music on vinyl releases, they're all pressed in the Netherlands, so sometimes it can take an extra week or so to work its way over here to the US. But Earth, Wind & Fire broke into the mainstream with a couple albums that came out before this one. Their 4th album, Head to the Sky, which was released in 72, was the album kind of broke them into the mainstream. Then their release, Open Your Eyes, in 74, and grow that popularity. But it was really this album that made them the big stars that they were in the 70s. It would hit number 1 on the Billboard 200. It would sell over 3 million copies here in the US. And this is the soundtrack to the movie of the same name, starring Harvey Keitel. And I think that kind of lended itself a little bit to the popularity of this album. To be honest, I think this is the only Earth, Wind & Fire album I've ever listened to. For me, $38 is a little bit much for this album, so I probably will pass on that this week unless I could find it for a good deal somewhere. And then the last album I got on my list is Relics by Overkill. So this came out back in 2005. It was their 13th studio album. It's 20th anniversary release. This is going to be an indie exclusive release. It's going to be on yellow, orange, and black splatter vinyl. It's going to run you about $31. So the 14 that's in the title of the album is in reference to the band. The band considers this their 14th album, even though their first self-titled album is technically an EP. And it's funny because the longest time I didn't really even know how to pronounce the title of this album, but the band actually pronounces it Relics, even though it looks very different than that. But on this album, it's kind of a different album for Overkill, because they took that older thrash style that the band used, kind of blended it with a little bit more of a modern style for them. It would result in what I think is the best Overkill album in years. A couple of songs off of this album went into being staples of the band's live shows ever since this album came out. I'm not a huge fan of thrash, but Overkill is one of those rare bands from that genre that I will listen to occasionally, but so you got that one coming out this week also. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing this week. Like I said, I probably will grab that self-titled album from The Doors, even though I do have that Analog Productions version. Like I said, maybe I will eventually end up selling that one off, but so you got that one coming out. I'll definitely grab that one. I'll stream the new Kesha album. I'll probably grab that Keith Sweat also. I'll probably grab that Dexter Gordon. I don't know. We'll see what I end up grabbing this week. But let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.